episode 6. So we're like a month and a half in now. Crazy. All right. So check us out on Spotify, Anchor, any of those podcast services. Just check the description below. All right, let's do introductions. Let's start with Dory.
Hi, I'm Dory. I go by she, her pronouns. I can be found on Twitter at dclare192. And excited to be here.
All right, James.
Hi, I'm James. You can find me at Untitled Smithy on Twitter, and I am not excited to be here.
Mitch.
Hi, I'm Mitch. You can find me on Twitter at uneducatedpop.
No problem.
And
go ahead.
Yes, something about me being excited to be here. Yes, that's my contribution to the gag.
I was lying anyway. None of us are excited to be here. We're ecstatic.
No problem. And Frank couldn't make it.
Are we done yet?
Frank couldn't make it this week because he had a power outage. He has a storm over there, so
yeah.
I'm sure he'll be here next week. All right. I'm Sebastian. You can follow me at Little793. So let's jump right into topics. What are you currently playing? What are you currently playing, Mitch?
Currently, I'm going between games like Fallout and Modern Warfare, but I think earlier this week I did finish the Burial at Sea episodes for BioShock Infinite, which if I could go on a quick spoiler-free tangent, I think they're not as great in quality as the main game, but I do appreciate the ways they tie into the first BioShock game, even though I kind of don't dislike the fact that they're so codependent now with how they are in the timeline and lore. And anyways, that's all I'll say. Tangent over. Great games.
James.
I've been playing more Ghost of Tsushima. I'm almost finished, nearing the end of Act 3, I think. I think that's it, really. A couple of rounds of Fall Guys here and there,
You still doing photo mode in Act 3?
Yep. If you go on my Twitter, it's just a wash of more Ghost of Tsushima photos.
Yeah, that's true. Dory, what are you playing?
I have also been playing Ghost of Tsushima. I just finished it. I won't give any spoilers, but I hope we do a spoiler cast soon. Maybe once James is done. When we first talked about doing a spoiler cast for it, I was like, I don't really know if that'll be that exciting, but I completely changed my tune on it. I don't know if it's my third favorite game of the year, my second. It's like really close with me with FF7 Remake. But either way, really great game. I just started back up Arkham City, and I've been enjoying that. I'm on the first hour. I'm replaying it because I beat it a few years ago on the PC, so I'm playing it for the first time on the PS4, the remaster. I beat Asylum, and just really quick, non-spoiler stuff. Super disappointing ending, but still a generally good game. And Rocksteady sucks at depicting women. So that's just gonna kind of put that out there.
Not wrong.
And
you cut out.
Oh, I said Rocksteady kind of sucks at depicting women, which is not really a surprise given recent allegations about sexism and abuse and stuff like that. So just putting that out there.
No, I agree. You're right. You're definitely right. All right. I am playing. Oh, I beat Samurai Jack. I'll talk about that next. But I'm like right at the end of After Party. I should probably get the platinum in a couple hours. Probably not tonight because I gotta edit this. But after that, I'll play tomorrow. After Party is really.
I love
good.
that game. Yeah. Do you have to play it twice to get the platinum? Because I know there's different endings.
Yeah, but apparently I've been following a video, and apparently you can find a way to do it in one playthrough, a certain way, I guess. So I want to do that because as much as I enjoy that game, I really don't want to play that game for another 3 hours. It's fun. Yeah. I mean, it's good, but it's a lot of talking and a lot of dialogue, and you're just walking. It's basically the whole game is just walking and talking. There's you press square and circle the whole game.
Yeah, though I like the mechanic that they've. I like the mechanic with the drinks, how you take different drinks and you talk differently, you get different dialogue options. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's a fun gimmick, but yeah, I can definitely see it not being as fun on the second playthrough.
Yeah. Sure. It's only made to be played once, for sure.
Right.
All right, so let me get into Samurai Jack. These are my impressions. If you didn't grow up with the show, I really can't say I recommend it. It plays a lot like Devil May Cry. not as like action, not as like over the top, but it's definitely like you follow a linear path. You get stuck in an open area, and then like a magical force will block the exit. You have to fight. You have to kill all the enemies to move on. And so it just repeats that pretty much every level. In terms of like the villains and stuff, it basically goes through all the greatest hits. Like I said, if you grew up with the show, you'll really enjoy that. If you didn't, it's just they're just like any other bosses or anything like that. They're not really.
So does it tie in super closely to the show?
It's like loosely based on the story. It kind of like it does like its alternate tangent of the final season, as if like he went back in time again, and like just went through all his greatest hits. The story. Right. Kind of weird, I guess, because it followed the ending of the actual show, kind of, but at the same time, it was like an totally alternative like version of it. I don't know.
Bit confusing, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little confusing.
Yeah, is it canon to the show, or is it just sort of like its own non-canon adventure where it's like, oh, look at these?
I could be wrong. I could be wrong because it's been a couple of years since it ended, and I haven't watched the couple first seasons in like 15 years, but. I think it's an alternate storyline because I don't remember anything that happened in the game happening in the final season at all. It's definitely the final season because the girl in it, she's only in the final season. She's the daughter of Aku, the daughters of Aku. Yeah, they're only in the final season, so I know it's basically. Okay. You'll know what I'm saying. You play, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if I've seen the show, I'll know what you're talking about.
Seb, what was your favorite episode? I know this is super. Kind of only tangential related, but I'm just curious. What was your favorite episode of Samurai Jack?
That's a good question. I like the one with the Scotsman, like the first introduction of him. I like I'm sure James would appreciate that one. He has he's missing a leg and he has a machine gun for a leg. He's just
what?
Right. I was thinking about James too when you said that, but I wouldn't say anything.
I was like, I don't remember being in that show.
He's actually the first. He's actually the first boss in the game. Yeah, I'd have to get back on you on that one. It's been a while. Like,
yeah, I'm thinking about the archers. Do they have the archers in that game? The blind archers, the one with the dog faces, and they shoot at Jack from the tower. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like in the winter.
I think so. Yeah, they were in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that it's like one of the most popular episodes. But anyway.
Yeah. I wish I had more information on that one.
That's all right, James. We lost you for a sec.
Yeah, we lost you,
James.
Back.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. The cell shading is really good though. The graphics are actually pretty. I really like the graphics. Like the art style of it, really well done. Feels like an actual cartoon. It really captures the spirit of the show. The combat's really fun. This is the shining part of the game for sure. The combat's actually really hard. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's Dark Souls like at all, but. You do have to be patient. You do have to dodge and block. You will die quick if you don't.
But it's not the Dark Souls of Samurai Jack.
Yeah, Samurai.
It's the Sekiro of Samurai Jack, as we all discussed before.
Yeah, and you do get to use different weapons. Like you get to use spears and hammers, and you get to use your fists and things. One thing I really hated about that though is that all the weapons that are outside the magic sword have a weapon durability system to it, so and they break really fast. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves in games is when they have a weapon.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I didn't love Breath of the Wild as much as everybody else did. And those things and like use it like things break really quick. So I said screw it and stuck with the sword the whole game and just focused on upgrading that. There's a whole.
Well, that's the thing.
You go ahead.
That's why I'm not big on those systems because. Like it's not a case of like, oh, my favorite weapon is going to get broken. It's a case of, oh, my favorite weapon is going to get broken, so I'm just going to use these crappy weapons the whole time, so that and then I end up not using that because I don't want it to break.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, they come in handy sometimes, but what happens is you'll have like a bunch of enemies that are tough to beat, and then all of a sudden they'll just throw a swarm at you of the same enemy, but you can kill those faster. Like you can kill those in like 2 shots. So and things like that, you need like the spear is better because you can do just all like spin moves and things like that. It takes out crowds easier. So that's the only time it really comes in handy. Otherwise, the sword, you just stick with the sword the whole game. And
I know they had some people from the original cast. Is the voice acting any good?
All of them, yes. All of them are back pretty much.
Wow. impressive, especially for a video game.
Yeah, the dialogue isn't like super memorable or anything. It's very standard story, but
for sure,
it is nice seeing all the characters. Go ahead, Mitch.
I was gonna say, how would you say like, because you know how like you have those licensed games where you can tell like they had like a bigger budget and a lot more time put into, like, how would you say this feels like a double A game or like a triple A game? Like, how would you say this feels? I would
say double A. It doesn't feel like triple A. There's a level of cheapness to it. Not like I mean,
not like bad, but it's like it's definitely
like the cutscenes are just like like they're well done, but they're not like they didn't put like hundreds of millions of dollars in these cutscenes. They're very standard. Yeah. Just get to the next part because every level ends the same way. He gets stuck to a different level. Speaking of levels,
from the
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, from the footage I saw, it definitely feels like, even like graphics wise, it feels like a game like ripped out of like 2007, 2008. Like if someone said this is a game from 2008, I'd believe them because it just looks sort of like one of the. And that's sort of not
I was looking at the IGN review. I was looking at the IGN review, and it was saying very similar. Like, if you told me this was a remaster of PS2 game, I would believe you.
Definitely, it definitely feels like a licensed linear game, it does a good job of it. I think there was a Samurai Jack game back in the day, like 15 years ago. Something like this is way better than that one, but So, what else was I gonna say?
How does the I know there's some leveling up and some skills and stuff like that, and some skill trees. How does that work? Is it any good?
Yeah, there's 3 skill trees. There's tons of them. Like you would have to play the game like 10 times to really not 10 times, but you would have to like max them all out. You can you maximize, it's the standard, like you maximize your health, you can maximize you get more combos with the sword or whatever weapon you want. You can jump higher. Pretty much the what I was gonna say is the camera angles. The camera angles are a lot like Devil May Cry in terms of like all of a sudden it turns into a 2D platformer. Like you're like there's one section on a train where it's like just 2D completely. You know what I mean? And you the camera can be wonky in terms of like if you get swarmed by enemies, so you can't see what's behind you. And enemies hit you like a ton, so you have to like just get out of there and fix the camera. The camera can be kind of an issue. At least for me, it was.
Is there any platforming or any kind of traversal at all, or no?
Not really. Like the only traversal is that like there's to be a chest like sitting on top of a platform or something. You just double jump up to get it. Things like that. It's pretty standard. I guess you could say like like Kingdom Hearts, like the levels are just like certain platforms. You just jump up to get the chest. Like it's just it's like a hub world. You know what I mean? They just throw you like this level and
Well, you say Kingdom Hearts, I immediately know what you mean. Of course.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Instantly translatable.
Yeah, definitely like that. And the levels are pretty unique. They're all like one's in the future, one's in this graveyard, one's in the snow, one's in a volcano kind of fireplace. It's pretty standard video game kind of. Thing like that.
It's big level diversity,
So would I recommend it? If you're a fan of the game, a fan of the show, I mean, definitely. But would I recommend it for $40? No, I'd get it on sale. I beat the game in about 8 hours, so that it's really short, and I got like half the trophies without trying. So if you're not really a fan of the game, I still recommend it. I mean, I keep saying the game, the show. If you're not really a fan of the show, I do still recommend it, but obviously not for full price. If you get it for like $15, I think you'd have fun with it.
Yeah. Okay, I was about to say $15-$20. Yep.
Yeah, I think $20 max is a good price.
Yeah.
I got Sony rewards, so I only got it for $10. But... All right, you guys have any more questions, or is that it?
Nope.
No, I'm good.
Right, cool. Right,
satisfied.
Next topic is PUBG and Street Fighter V are coming to PS Plus in September. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm quite excited. PUBG I could take or leave, but Street Fighter V is one of those. Street Fighter V is one of those games I've always been curious about, but not curious enough to actually buy the game. So it's a perfect game for PS Plus.
Have you guys ever?
I guess I'm just.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Sorry. I was just gonna say I'm not as excited for either of the games personally because on one hand it's like it's PUBG, it's PUBG. You
That's enough said.
With Street Fighter 5 though, it's like I'm just not good enough at those types of really fast-paced fighting games. I'm just not good at them at all. So like I'll try it out, but I don't expect to get very far with it.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot about PUBG, so what's the issue with that? Just that it's a battle royale, or
it's a little vanilla, I guess. It's a little boring.
And it seems very poorly polished. It's
you can see how excited I am because I know very little about PUBG. And
I never played PUBG, but I know that it's like pre-Fortnite, like in terms of like it's when Battle Royale first came out, like the genre. Like
I think in an age where we have like such polished battle royales like Warzone, Apex Legends, Fortnite. Just there's no point in going back to PUBG because there's
Apex especially
15 other. Yeah, it's like there's about 15 other games that do it 10 times better and have 10 times the amount of polish that PUBG does.
Yeah, like this month is not that great. I mean,
no.
I have no interest.
Especially compared to last month or the past couple months, I'd say.
Last month is probably arguably one of the best of all time in PlayStation 4's time. I would say Fall Guys is
just to summarize like the PUBG thing. It's a little to Fortnite what Stadia is to Microsoft's xCloud, essentially.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
That's the most accurate description I've ever heard.
It's the one that came first and did okay, but nobody really likes it anymore.
Yeah, no, I got that. You just said Stadia, and I was like, ouch. You didn't need to say anything.
I get everything now. I get everything.
Subtext.
And the thing with Street Fighter 5 is it's only a standard game. There's a whole like extra little DLC you have to buy to it, and for all that to get all the content.
That's how they get you.
You're getting the base game.
So that's not free? I thought all that stuff was free.
Not with Capcom.
Friggin' Capcom, man.
And Street Fighter is not casual friendly at all. It is totally hardcore. So you gotta know this. You gotta do precise spins with the stick, certain button presses. We're talking Evo level of.
I know the Hadouken. Does that make me a hardcore fan? I know the Hadouken.
Yeah, what? It's just down, back, A. Or
it's just spam that over and over again, right? Yes. Am I doing it right?
So this is a lousy month, in my opinion. So it is.
I kind of agree.
Sure, there have been better. Yeah. There've also been worse though.
For sure.
Oh yeah, I think I remember. Wasn't there 1 month, a year or two back, where they actually had to change one of the games to?
They were going to do
Detroit Become Human.
They were going to do PES. I think they were going to do PES, and they changed it to Detroit.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I mean, hey, it wasn't. It's like probably not the best substitution.
I mean, I would have taken PES, to be honest. But
Yeah, over like Detroit Become Human. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that's like getting hit with a wiffle ball instead of a meteor, right? I mean, it's like, it's better, but like, how much better?
Yeah.
Oh, I like Detroit, but I already had it beaten the time they did that.
Yeah.
All right, next topic. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War trailer. I want to put the Gamescom one and the reveal trailer together. Just because it would be kind of redundant to talk about.
So what's the difference between the Gamescom one? Because I sort of just assumed that it was the same trailer being recycled.
Well, the Gamescom thing wasn't a trailer really. It was just a cutscene from the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just.
Well, I can't speak to that one, but yeah, I think the trailer. It kind of surprised me, especially like with the details that came out afterwards. Like I was expecting a really bare bones single player campaign just due to the amount of time Treyarch have had, but I'm pleasantly surprised with what they're presenting thus far.
I know.
With you've got like customizable characters and everything, but yeah.
I know.
I think Raven's making the single player in this, is what I've heard. Which is interesting. I mean, it makes sense because they haven't had a lot of time really, because it's Treyarch doing the main sort of thing. But I mean, I don't know how the more recent trailers. I read the reveal sort of the teaser trailer with all those sort of clips smashed together, those historic clips and everything. I thought that was really fucking cool. That got me really. I think that was one of the best trailers of the year, even though it didn't give much away in terms of the actual game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The actual the actual trailer and everything, it was okay. I like the sort of I'm a big fan of that, of games that sort of go for that time period. What's interesting though, I think, is to me, it's been such a long time, so a lot of the characters seem to have slightly different voices, presumably because they've got different actors. And what's interesting is I was actually looking up the casts of the other games recently, and the weird thing is, this was on IMDb. In Black Ops 1, Hudson, the guy with the sunglasses, he was played by Ed Harris, and in Black Ops 2,
Really?
in Black Ops 2, I guess they couldn't get Ed Harris again, so they replaced him with Michael Keaton. And I don't think I ever actually noticed the difference.
Wow.
Really?
So
I guess
but I
they
don't
kind of have so much. Yeah,
I guess
it's
you can tell. Yeah, you can see.
I can't believe they got
Yeah.
Birdman. That's amazing.
I am.
Batman.
I'm really surprised with like in past like Call of Duties, like the caliber of like the cast and voice actors they have. Like I think one in Modern Warfare, one of the Modern Warfares, they had like Gary Oldman or something in it. And I'm
That
like,
was Gary
wow,
Oldman played Reznov in the World at War and Black Ops games.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, just like incredible. It's like, wow, you got world class actors in your crappy Call of Duty campaign.
Yeah.
They got that money.
I mean, yeah, it's amazing what a lot of money can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Kiefer Sutherland as well in a couple of things.
Yeah.
And in I think it was Modern Warfare 2 that Will Arnett is credited as additional voices. So
yeah,
I love it.
it's interesting.
I
They've
would.
had
Yeah.
both Solid Snake and or Punish Snake. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And BoJack Horseman. Great.
Yeah. What's interesting, like, though, is that, like, back then they used to just, hire those actors seemingly for their talent, and they had just had them, like, you wouldn't know that they were in there unless you made the connection, but, like, later on they started really putting them in front of the marketing, like with Kevin Spacey, I think was the first one in Advanced Warfare, and then
which hasn't aged well.
No, it has not aged well, but
no.
Yeah. And then they did, like Kit Harington, which they used for like 5 minutes. And that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, like before, I think I preferred it when it's like they didn't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, I think it. Like with you saying with like the actors and as villains and stuff, it certainly came around the same time that the Far Cry games had their big push with we're going to have our villains front and center, and like Far Cry games are still doing it with 6 as well. But it's like they're putting like their big talent front and center on the cover art for all players to sort of see, hey, we've got this actor playing the main villain is, super over the top. Buy our game and you can sort of see what he's like. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, one thing is cool is that you never really get the 80s, like, this time period, like right at the end of the Cold War, like right when
So that's the thing, like, in Black Ops 1, I think they've sort of in Black Ops 1 they sort of skirted around the Vietnam conflict, and they did a lot of stuff around that.
Yep.
Personally, I would have liked all the cliches just thrown in there, because I think that's fun. But they seem to, with that series, they seem to do a lot of that sort of stuff.
Oh, for sure. I don't think I've ever seen Ronald Reagan in a video game before.
Yeah, that's that's interesting. I think I will say, I think my main, I hope that with this game, and I mean, I guess Modern Warfare last year kind of said that they'd be going into that, but sort of, pussied out halfway through. But I really hope that they actually get into like the proper ambiguities of war and, this conspiracy stuff that they're going with, instead of just sort of like giving this half-assed, oh, it's bad, but each side has their reasons. That
What's interesting is, and there's a great video essay from Jacob Geller that I encourage you to go check out.
Yes.
That sort of in the marketing lead up to Modern Warfare last year. I know it's a different studio, but like they were sort of saying. One of the guys who was behind the game was saying, "Oh, like it's not political because in order to be political, it would have to tackle real world events." And then a year later, they're putting Ronald Reagan in the game and sort of stuff.
Well, I mean, wasn't there like a, I wouldn't say big controversy because everyone kind of shoved it under the rug a bit afterwards, but wasn't there a level in Modern Warfare last year where it's like they adapted this this like sort of event in which the US basically like bombed this convoy on a highway or something.
Right, the Highway of
like,
Death thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that the Highway of Death, and then they adapted it in the game to sort of make the US seem like the good guys, and that was not very good on the writer's part. Yeah,
that's that sort of Call of Duty thing where they sort of go for shock and awe without really putting much substance behind it. They just want to make headlines,
which is disappointing.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think there's any way. I didn't watch the trailer. I have no interest in Call of Duty, but I heard about what was going on, and I have a hard time believing they're going to put Ronald Reagan in the actual light he should be put in, or probably should be put in given his history with AIDS and everything else. So just there, he's probably, somebody said this, he's probably just going to be in the opening cutscene or something like that, and then he's not going to show up again. I bet that's probably what's going to happen. They're just putting him forward for promotional material, so he's probably not going to have a huge impact on the plot, but I don't know, obviously, for sure. I will say, I can't say many good things about Destroy All Humans, but at least they didn't use actual political figures. They just did people with very weird impressions of them. So, I don't know. I prefer that.
Whereas I think adapting full-on, war crimes that the US committed into, fun, cool levels in a Call of Duty campaign is not.
I sure do love them waterboarding mini games. I'll tell you, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like it doesn't to point out the obvious. Spec Ops: The Line, it actually treated the subject matter with some gravitas and actual nuance, whereas Modern Warfare seems to be going in that direction, but it doesn't want to commit to it in the same way that Spec Ops did, because it doesn't want to make its players feel like crap after they finish it.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm that excited, honestly. I'm not a big Call of Duty guy. I only play Call of Duty for the story though, but I don't think I'm gonna get this day one, honestly. So
the fact that it's a direct sequel to the first Black Ops has me quite interested, just because I'm a big fan of that game specifically. Whether it'll be any good, who knows? Who can say? It's been a long time, so
yeah, for sure. No, I've seen a lot of people say Black Ops is their favorite story.
It's certainly up there for me. I don't know if it's my favorite story, but that game had my favorite multiplayer. So I maybe if they sort of continue that style that they had a lot of in that game, I think there's a good chance I'll enjoy it.
Now, this question is more to you and Mitch, James. Do you guys think the pandemic is going to affect this game at all, or?
I think I think it probably has affected the people working on it quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think, Bobby Kotick's probably telling them, get down and work. But who knows really? I don't think they'll probably meet the November 13th release date.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll affect anything from the player's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't imagine it's been easy going over there.
I can definitely expect a Jason Schreier article about the poor work conditions for the teams at home coming out post the launch. Yeah, another one.
Because he's already done one for Treyarch, so.
It's an annual
series. I think he has, yeah.
Yeah. You guys have anything more to add about Call of Duty, or?
Nope. I'm just excited for it.
Hope.
No worries.
Yeah, just hope. I mean, really just depends on how they sort of treat the subject matter and what they do with it, but yeah.
Yep. All right.
I prefer salmon over cod. Thank you.
Next topic. I think I have more knowledge of, I would say. So we got this mysterious game that just randomly showed up all over the place. It got huge hype. People are going crazy about this game. And it's called Black Myth Wukong. It is based on the Journey to the West. It features the Monkey King. If you don't know who the Monkey King is, if you know who Goku is heavily based on him, because he has a magic pole. He flies on a magic cloud. He can turn into animals. He can he fights demons. Really cool.
Just a monkey.
Yeah.
Monkey.
In terms of the game, it's pretty much everything in the story with it sounds really cool for a video game. Honestly, you can do a lot of mechanics with it. The game, I don't like comparing things to the Souls series, but it did seem very Souls-like. Like,
It seemed very. It gave me a lot of Sekiro specifically.
It was very Sekiro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was watching that trailer and I wasn't sure what to expect at all. I'd heard about it. The trailer for IGN has like 4.3 million views or something like that. It's huge.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who are from China themselves, or people from China themselves, had like really upvoted views or upvoted comments saying like, "This looks really good. Like, I got chills at this. It's hard to explain like how cool this is. Like, this is like Spider-Man showing up in Civil War or something like that towards the end."
Yeah.
And so I don't. I mean, I love Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So I grew up with those. So I kind of get the context, but like not really at all. But it was super cool. There was multiple points in the trailer where I went like, wow. Like I was impressed by like a gameplay feature or some actual gameplay.
Journey to the West is like arguably the most famous story in Eastern Asia. It's basically about a monk that goes to India with like the Monkey King and like a magic talking pig guy and something else. I'm forgetting. Like another.
Oh yeah, the magic talking pig guy. I know him.
Well, you know Dragon Ball. You know Oolong is based on that. You know Dragon Ball follows it very closely. You know. Although I don't know if there's magic. I don't know if there's magic artifacts to summon to grant wishes or anything like Dragon Ball, but I think there's something like that. Anyway, I'm just giving people a quick summary.
Yeah, I mean, it looked great. It looked honestly fantastic. But I wonder if is it a sort of known developer that's making it? Because I wonder if it's going to be. I wonder if it's going to be one of those games that sort of comes out of nowhere and it looks fantastic visually and everything, and then it quietly vanishes. Like it seems to be in development for absolutely ever. Like that Atomic Heart, I think, is a recent example of that.
Yeah.
Like that game looks great, but I've never. It sort of just came out like one of those games where a trailer just gets posted on IGN, and then there's sort of no there's little fanfare, and then it goes away.
Yeah. What's cool is that they're showing actual gameplay and everything. They're showing like good like 20 minutes game, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Usually just get a trailer, but the problem I have with it is that it's too impressive. Like it feels too unrealistic.
Yeah.
I don't. If the game can even capture like 50% of that, then the game's probably gonna kick ass. But I just got a feeling the gameplay looked a little too smooth. It looked really, you know what I mean? Especially for unknown Chinese developer.
It seemed. Sorry, it seems like one of those sort of situations. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is a case of it just being a vertical slice.
Yeah, that's what I'm
where
saying.
it's like they put the graphics and all the effects and settings to the max, and then like once you actually have to spread that out across like a 5 to 15 hour experience, it's going to be downgraded. Yeah. Which I mean, obviously, like everyone should be more lenient on them, seeing as they're an indie developer, not like not a AAA developer with a seemingly endless budget. But it's like, it definitely seems like one of those first impressions that are a bit too good to be true.
Right. And but they must have tons of money or something. Like they can't just be some indie developer. They look too good for them just to like be some small little indie company. There has to be someone behind that. It looked like a high-end game.
Yeah.
Like, that's next-gen. Yeah. Really a next-gen game.
Definitely. But the fact that it came out of nowhere makes me think, like, I'd be surprised if it got a big fanfare Western release.
Yeah.
I mean, it might look what it did just this week. Yeah, like...
Yeah, I mean, it could. Yeah, for sure. I really
look how popular Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are, and those are loosely based on it, So, I don't know if it's possible.
I really like the sound design as well. I wanted to note that. Like the sound of the weapon and everything, it had that sort of wood sound effect. I think they really nailed that. It sounds really satisfying to land hits and that sort of thing.
Yep.
See, that's funny because when I heard I was watching the trailer at work, and I work with dogs, so it was a little loud in the background, I admit. But when I was able to hear the trailer, which was most of it because it was pretty quiet at that point, I don't know. The sounds, the hits didn't sound super satisfying to me, but I didn't have earbuds on. I don't know if you did, James.
Well, the thing is, I was wearing headphones, and I don't work with dogs, so
fair enough.
Or live with them.
But do you guys? There was that sort of reveal at the end where like there was the monkey guy. He swung his thing, and then the camera panned around, and there was another monkey guy and it was supposed to be like a big. Do you guys know who that was, or
What's the monkey?
Yeah,
King?
so
like
that's
that?
what I was saying earlier. I think that's the Monkey King himself or something, or
Yeah.
like somebody was saying in the comments, somebody from China, I presume, or somebody who's very familiar with Journey to the West,
Yeah.
or from the West.
To the west.
To the West. Thank you. I did get it right. Saying basically that was the equivalent of like Spider-Man showing up in Civil War for a lot of Chinese people.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Okay.
so it was like a big deal culturally for them, but they were
yeah.
trying to explain that it's hard to explain this to Western audiences
True.
what seeing that figure in a big game like this means to them. So
True.
I have no idea what it means to them, but cool.
Like I said, when I tell you it's one of the biggest well-known stories in Asia. Like it's a very beloved classic.
Yeah.
I read it in college.
Well, yeah,
So
it looks great.
I think, yeah. So Seb, would you say like it's not necessarily like westernizing or appropriating the parable or myth? Like, would you say like it's a fairly like appropriate and reasonable sort of adaptation of the story at all? Like, it's respectful of the culture, or
It seems so.
from what you've seen?
I think it helps that
I
it
thought
comes
it was-
from China itself.
Yeah, I thought it was by
Yeah.
a Chinese studio, so I mean it's
Yeah.
absolutely
Oh,
within their,
yeah. Okay, that might be the case too. Then, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Because most of it was in Chinese. Like there was almost no English at all, except for some of the subtitles underneath Chinese letters.
it was.
Hmm.
It
Or
was.
True.
kanji.
It was
yeah.
very Asian. It was very like even the older the old guy. He looked. You know what I mean? The design. You can tell
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
Western at all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
yeah.
dig it. Yeah. Do you guys
Hmm.
think it's far out?
Oh, I don't even
I
know
think
if
it's
coming
far out. No,
Oh, for
I
sure.
don't even. I doubt if it's even coming
Yeah.
out. Honestly, I think
I suspect 2022.
I'm thinking 23. Honestly,
Wow.
yeah, I think it's.
Um,
Okay,
yeah,
I guess
don't-
I'll go for 2030 then.
Yeah.
You guys are
I
thinking
don't know. It's
way too short.
It also gave me like big Souls Sekiro vibes, especially with the health bars and the big like monsters and stuff like that. It seemed weird
Yeah.
when they were trying to fight a crowd. That seemed a little difficult, maybe, but I don't know. They did transformations and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's for me. It seems very Souls like, and I'm not into the Souls game because I like my console the way it is. Thank you. I'm just honest with myself. I know I couldn't handle it. So, but it does look amazing, and I hope it's awesome. And I'm sure we'll see it in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I just hope it's a case of it looks amazing and it feels amazing and it plays amazing instead of its aesthetics being the only draw to it that
Yeah.
actually is good in the final product.
And I hope we get to travel around the map with the cloud. That'd be really fun because you drive. You
Oh
drive
man, that'd be so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
You're on the clouds at one point. You're able to swing your stick around and move the. I thought that was so cool. I was like, wow, those effects are so amazing. How are they doing that?
Yeah.
That just blew my mind. I haven't
Right.
felt like blown away by a trailer in a while, so that was like really cool to experience again.
And it came
There
out of
is-
nowhere. Yeah.
There is actually another game where you can travel around the map with a cloud, and it's called Final Fantasy VII. Hey,
Oh my God.
Hey,
All right, podcast.
there it is.
All right. Good night, guys. No.
All right,
Okay,
good night,
okay.
everybody.
All right. You guys have anything more to add about this game?
no, it looks great.
Hopefully, no.
It looks
That's great. Hopefully it comes out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Enough.
Hopefully it comes out good.
All
Yeah.
right. Next topic: Gamescom Opening Night Live. Was it Opening Night Live? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Which is
that's what
weird.
it was. Yeah.
Because it was at noon Western time.
It was night for me.
All right.
It's good enough. Well, it was evening for
4
me.
in the morning for
Which
me.
makes sense, though,
Yeah, it was
because
4 in the
Gamescom-
morning for me. So
Yeah, because Gamescom's
Yep.
is in Europe generally, so it's in Germany.
Right, yeah, it's in Germany, so.
So I
even
wanna-
though it was hosted by Jeff Keighley,
yeah.
non-European man.
Yeah,
Name a bigger celebrity German, game host.
Yeah.
All I know is David Hasselhoff. No, he's huge in Germany.
Is he German?
He's not. I think he's like not like maybe like in terms of like his heritage or something.
Okay.
But he's like a beloved figure in Germany.
Really?
Anyway, so I'm gonna go through like selective games, obviously, because half of it was like PC and Xbox games. So
Right.
I'm only gonna focus on ones that are
Yeah.
on PlayStation. Let me know if some of them aren't on PlayStation. I think they are, but I did my homework. But just in case, it was so many games to go through. It was kind of a.
I didn't do my homework, so I'm sure if there is any, it'll slip right by me.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one's might be obscure if you guys don't really didn't really like know the show. Is Unknown 9. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I didn't know that was based on anything.
Not only is
Yeah, I
based on
didn't either.
anything,
That's a
it's,
show?
it was like a new IP, like a
Oh yeah, right.
it was like a Indian. I think she was Indian, a girl, and she was getting like bullied or something like that.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer now, and like she gets pushed to the ground, and then suddenly she does something, and she like sort of taps into like a different plane or something, and everyone's like transparent. I don't know.
Yeah.
This was the
It's
one where she pulled the brick out of
weird.
the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think too much of it. I checked the comments on pretty much every single one. Most people didn't seem to think much of it either. They were saying it was based on somebody's powers, but I can't remember who. It looks kind of interesting, but it was like a 1 minute trailer with just no gameplay and just CG.
Not enough to really get excited about.
It's it's
cool.
a teaser trailer, so there's not really much you can say on it.
Although some people were pretty happy with the cultural like showing.
Representation.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's good.
So, all right, next one, Doom Eternal: The Ancient Gods Part 1 DLC. Let's start with I'll start with James on that one because he just did a review.
Yeah, if you missed it, the reviews now for the main game is now live on the channel. But yeah, it looks interesting. I think the most interesting thing that I was listening out for was the fact that it's not Mick Gordon doing the music this time, because they had that falling out with him. So I think you can definitely hear it. The music doesn't sound bad at all. It sounds quite good actually. But you can definitely hear the difference. It does not sound like Mick Gordon.
I couldn't hear the difference, but I can definitely believe that considering all the stuff that happened a few months back.
Yeah, but it looked good. I think some of it was like on an oil rig or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but it looked like more Doom, really. And that's all you can ask for.
Really, yeah.
I think if I was to sort of speak to the contrary quickly, I think honestly the fact that it is just more Doom is kind of like has put me off sort of buying the season pass or anything, because from like it gives you more story and lore if you're into that, but it's like it doesn't seem to currently hasn't shown any like really new areas or something, and like because Doom Eternal was great, it had tons of diverse locations.
Yeah, so you think it doesn't show anything that looks entirely different? I
might have to watch the trailer again, but nothing that we haven't really seen from Doom Eternal and Doom 2016, like sort of the same oil rig aesthetic. It doesn't seem to like highlight any new like abilities or weapons at all, which I mean they didn't say anything, but I kind of expected some new weapon or ability, or maybe a weapon mod for the DLC to sort of do something new, but I guess that's just not in, or they haven't revealed it yet. But yeah, like it looks good, but it's definitely not something I'd go out and buy right now.
I wouldn't either. I just want to say that id Software and Bethesda absolutely know what they're doing by putting the two Marauders at the end, because fuck Marauders. I'm absolutely with the casual fan that Marauders are really tough. I'm not saying they're unfair. I had a lot of problems with them in my playthrough, and I found them absolutely. Software knows exactly what it's doing with those two Marauders at the same time, because there's been so much player feedback about Marauders being the toughest enemy. I had a lot of trouble with them in my playthrough, and so I thought that was very funny very cheeky that they put that at the end, where it's like, one Marauder, how about two? I'm like, no, I don't want that. I'm with Mitch. I won't be picking this up, but it looks cool. I like Doom Eternal. I'm happy it's there.
Yeah. Marauders are a pain, especially if there's other enemies around. A lot of other enemies. Like I can handle them. I can handle them 1-on-1. Don't know about 2-on-1. I guess we'll find out. But
2-on-1 plus filler enemies is going to be a nightmare.
Doom Eternal is in my top 5 favorite games of the year so far, but I'm not really that interested in going back to it right now. In terms of the
DLCs are a hard sell. I think. Yeah,
I'm pretty much.
Especially paid. Especially paid DLC in 2020.
Yeah.
Like I mean, if it's quality, then I can definitely understand why they'd have it as a paid expansion. But I think in an age where we're getting free, updates and sort of additions to campaigns more regularly, it's becoming a bit of a tough sell.
For sure. So I want to move on to the next game. So the next one was Star Wars Squadrons. I'm actually really hyped for this
Star
game.
Wars Scotsman.
I'm really hyped for this game. This is a game I have to play in VR. I cannot play this regular. Like this game is definitely made for VR.
I'm surprised they haven't in VR like compatible. Honestly, it seems like an extra challenge that they put on themselves, but it might pay off.
I couldn't play that without VR. Like that seems like the main focus.
Yeah.
If you guys ever played, you guys are not really VR guys, but like the Battlefront 2 had a VR segment where you can drive in the ship, and that was like first person, and
right.
And it was really well done.
Oh, it did?
No, not Battlefront 2, Battlefront 1. But
I haven't played that, but I have. No, I haven't played that either. Actually, never mind. I was going to say I've played the VR mode in Ace Combat 7, but I haven't done that. No, I mean, as far as sort of dogfighting games go, I think it looks a lot of fun. I think that some previews have said that they're going to be focusing more on like the dogfighting. They're focusing more on making it fun rather than making it sort of big, like, scale wise, big explosions and set pieces. So I'm happy with that, like, because I think a game like that you really do need to focus more on the gameplay and on making the moment to moment fun. So I mean, it seems like it's on the good track.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. It's one of the last few games of the year that I'm excited about besides Tony Hawk. So I'm interested. If it reviews well, then I'll be picking it up. Dogfighting's not like my biggest thing, but I mean, I guess I don't know if anyone remembers or has played this, even if you don't remember it from like childhood or whatever. But there still is in some arcades this Star Wars game where you are playing as as you're the Rebel Alliance throughout the first 3 movies. And then you've got like a joystick and something, and you can fight Darth Vader and stuff like that. Anyway, one of my favorite arcade games of all time.
Dang, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just forgetting.
Yeah. It's really cool. Every time I see it in an arcade, I just blow all my money on it. I freaking love that thing.
Me too. Yeah.
But anyway, so it reminds me of that, and I've never really played a dogfighting game within the Star Wars universe. I think that'd be rad. So if this does well, I don't really care if the single player is good. I mean, I want it to be, right? That would be great. But I'm not super worried about it as long as the main gameplay is solid. That's kind of what I'm concerned about. And also that they don't do... I mean, I don't think they would. They've always been pretty consistent about defining the Empire as the bad guys. But as long as they're not doing the both perspectives thing to, like, make you try to sympathize with the Empire too much or something like that. Something weird like that, narrative. But Star Wars is usually good about that, at least. I mean, they're fucking space Nazis,
I hope
right?
the story's consistent. Like, one of the things I hate about Battlefront 2 is they really hyped up being part of the Empire and, like, being, like, an Imperial soldier. And then got really predictable, and she joins the rebels halfway through it.
Yes.
Not even halfway through. Like,
25%. Yeah.
Like,
I was like, what the
25% of the way through.
Yeah.
I think to bring back, this is gonna sound so odd in Star Wars, but to bring back Spec Ops: The Line, imagine how interesting it would have been to have a game set purely in the Empire's perspective, and you actually see firsthand some of like the atrocities you commit, and it just sort of presents them to you like sort of raw, and you just like, as the player, you're sort of left to like consider.
They tried
like,
that.
Truly, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how interesting that would.
it.
I'm not sure how interesting that would be because they're sort of in all Star Wars media they're presented as like they don't have a lot of nuance. They're just like the mustache twirling bad guys. So.
Yeah.
It
will definitely depend on sort of the situations they present. But it has potential. But I definitely go with Jimmy James.
Yeah, because it's all perspective. A lot of people probably think the Empire was doing the right thing. You know what I mean? I don't get too political.
Yeah,
people have
not a lot of people do. No. Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm sure people thought like the Empire was doing good for their planet or something like that. But because Star Wars is just it's very standard, black and white, good guys versus bad guys. They always write it that way, so that's why the Empire is like that. All right, so I'm excited for this. I will be playing it in VR only. I cannot play this without VR. I hope the story's good. I know that the story takes place after Return of the Jedi, which is cool. So you get like the in between Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens, the New Republic.
Oh, so
because we never got that in the movies, not once.
Yep. I thought Oh,
Right?
okay. It's
Could be
weird that they're
wrong.
doing it after. It's weird that they're doing it after Return of the Jedi, seeing as because like the impression I got from the trailers was that like it's got the Empire at their full strength basically.
Is it?
Or is that sort of not?
It might be like the remnants.
I mean, that's
think it's the
that,
remnants of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the impression I got, but that could easily be wrong. No,
Yeah,
I could easily be wrong.
I think she's
so much time to in honesty.
Yeah, because I think she said the New Republic in the trailer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they use the same logo.
Yeah, and the decaying Empire. Sorry, Seb.
Yeah, Decaying Empire,
okay.
which turns into the First Order. But,
right.
Yeah.
That's why they're strong when the movies start. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's get to the next topic. Our next game, Godfall. Well, they show more gameplay. That's pretty much all that needs to be said. Like,
I can't listen, Zeb. I gotta tell you, I can't wait to talk about Godfall again.
Yeah, that's all.
I'm really excited for this.
I feel like we have
I'm
to
excited
say
for the next time we talk about Godfall too, y'all. Okay, so anyway, next topic.
Yeah, they did like a 20-minute interview, but I didn't watch it. But
I didn't watch it
Right.
either.
watch
I
it
really
either.
think we should. No, I
Yeah.
can't. I think we should really be putting gameplay in quotation marks because it's just B-roll footage. Like it's not actually unedited game. Like
wasn't the Godfall thing like 2 seconds long? Like
Yeah, it was like 10 seconds or something.
the trailer was quick.
yeah, it was like, hey, let's check out some Godfall. Some guy runs up to a shield enemy, hits him,
Yeah.
and then okay, next game.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yikes,
Yeah.
Rooney.
Basically, what to get out of that trailer was that there was a female warrior, and that we haven't really seen her that much. In
Right,
The trailers.
okay.
That's pretty much all I got from the trailer.
Okay.
I think Jeff Keighley's lead up to talking about Godfall was longer than the actual Godfall
Yeah, they kinda,
gameplay.
They showed enough of it. I mean, what more can you really show?
I mean, really, they're just showing us more of the same stuff at this
Yeah.
point. Like, I don't really care about
Right.
the B-roll footage. I just actually want to see some proper gameplay,
Right. The game
like
just,
unedited
yeah.
and not. Yeah.
The game just needs like a 20, 30, 40 minute a gameplay overview and just dive deep into it. Like that's what the game needs.
Like,
Right now.
just-
We don't need any more
yeah.
trailers.
Do what
Sounds like an absolute nightmare, and I would never do it, Seb. Not even for the podcast.
I'm just saying.
Should just skim
That's what the
through
game
it.
needs.
Just
I don't know.
skim
Like,
through
I think we should start an offshoot podcast where we just talk about Godfall.
We'll call it Fall Gods instead of Fall
Yeah.
Guys. It's Fall Gods.
Podfall.
I like it.
Hey,
Fallcast.
There we go.
Fallcast.
better,
Yeah.
better name than Godfall.
God, such an edgelord name.
All right.
Who named it? Shadow the Hedgehog?
Next game, Override to Super Mech League, which I think is a Brazilian. I think it's from a Brazilian developer.
Yeah, I remember
Oh.
signing up. I remember signing up for the beta for the first game,
Mhm.
and I downloaded it, and I couldn't find a game, so I uninstalled it.
Oh,
It looked pretty creative.
Ouch.
It had like unique character. Like one of the robots had like gumballs in her pigtails or something like that.
It certainly looks cool, and I'd love to try it.
Yeah, I need to see
It,
gameplay. It doesn't do it. The trailer didn't do anything for me in terms of like.
Yeah,
Getting
it
excited
didn't
for the
do anything
game.
for me either.
It's very
I'm
similar
watching
to
the trailer.
sorry, Mitch.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I'm watching the trailer right now, and one of the robots or whatever pulled out a frying pan, so they
Yeah.
seem to have
Oh,
gone
yeah.
to the PUBG school of
Yeah, one
fighting.
of them looked like a fish. It looked like Magikarp. I thought that's what I said when I saw it. You know what I'm
Right.
talking
It
about?
kind of reminds me of Arms a bit,
Yeah,
like the
Arms,
Nintendo
yeah.
Switch title Arms.
It
It's
reminds-
got that same aesthetic.
It reminds me a lot of loads of games I've played in Dreams.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of that sort of big mech,
Yeah.
city brawling stuff
Yeah.
in there.
I got to see the gameplay because
Yeah.
otherwise it's just gonna be it could be Bleeding Edge, which
Well, yeah, kind of just
boring.
based on what I've seen of the first game, it looks more of that. So just go and watch some gameplay of the first
okay,
game.
Yeah, I forgot there was a second. I mean, yeah, it's called Override too, but I
Yeah.
didn't even hear the first one honestly. It
Well,
didn't,
I don't think it was a big
it
deal.
didn't do anything for me
relaunch.
personally. All right, I don't.
Just seems like a relaunch or something.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more to add for that one. All right, the Mafia Definitive Edition. Are you guys interested in this one? It comes out next month.
Yeah, I'm interested in it.
I am too.
I don't remember much about what they showed at Gamescom, which is interesting because it was only last night. But
Yeah, it was story driven. Trailer.
yeah, like based on the gameplay demo they released like a month ago.
Mhm.
My main concern I remember was the writing and the voice acting.
Mhm.
It seemed a little iffy. So yeah, I don't know. The gameplay looks fun. It looks gorgeous. Honestly,
Yeah,
it looks very good. I'm not sure how that writing and acting is gonna pan out, especially with I can't remember his name, but the guy who's supposed to be your mate in the game. Like that guy, he was a little annoying. I can't imagine I'll be happy to spend more time with him in the missions.
Yeah.
Is this like one of those like sort of remaster remakes where it's like they build it from the ground up, but they keep like all the writing and voice acting intact? Like they just sort of build up the graphic extension and gameplay a bit? Or?
I haven't played the first game, but it certainly seems like it could be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I heard that, but yeah.
For sure. My only concern, I guess, is the gameplay going to be dated? Just because it's, I don't know if like how much more fluid the gameplay is going to be compared to like.
Well, I think they are making it from the ground up.
Yeah.
In terms of like gameplay and stuff,
Yeah.
so it'll probably be a lot closer to Mafia 3. And I remember I liked Mafia 3's gameplay quite a lot.
Mhm.
I thought like the weapons and the sound design and everything was very sad. The gunplay was satisfying, I think.
Well, I think the problem for Mafia 3 was the performance. Like, that game kept crashing on me, and
The main problem with Mafia 3, I think, for me and a lot of people, was the mission structure and the fact that it was very good, but then you got to a point in the story where they just had you doing sort of busy work for hours and hours on end just to progress the story, and it was not fun.
Yeah, like, I've been pretty vocal in saying I love the story in Mafia 3, but everything else in that game I hated. I think that game is absolutely trash outside the story.
Yeah, I remember seeing the remaster for Jim Sterling did a review of the remaster of Mafia 3. I think it was Mafia 3, maybe it was 2. I don't remember.
I think probably would have been 2, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was like a couple months ago or something, and he was like, "Wow, this is just buggy trash. It does not play well. It does not look good. It doesn't sound good."
Yeah, I couldn't play it. I wanted to beat it. I couldn't play it. I was.
That's a disappointment as well, because Mafia 2 was a fun game.
Yeah. Well, even Mafia 2, it was disappointing, I think, to people when it came out compared to
I liked Mafia 2
sure,
quite a lot. I thought that was a great game.
I never played Mafia 2 though, so I'm not sure.
I played that. I've played it a couple times actually. I'm a big fan of that game.
I'm excited because I'm a big I'm in the Mafia movies and things like that. I'm an Italian American myself, so my people.
It's always a fun time period.
My people.
What Seb is trying to say is he has ties to the Mafia, and if anyone crosses us, I mean, he won't be responsible.
Watch your backs.
The most intimidating man I know, Seb.
The people you least expect. No.
That's right.
All right, next game. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I'm actually excited about this game because it's been a while since they've done all the movies together. I think it's PS2, I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest though, I'm not looking forward to replaying the prequel trilogy. Well, the first two of the prequel trilogy. Revenge of the Sith is, pretty good, but I think it's the combination of the story and just like the way that everything progresses and plays out. They're just not that interesting to play through or revisit, honestly.
I mean,
hopefully they do something for the games. But yeah.
I mean, the prequels aren't great, but I guess I have more of a love for it only because I grew up with them. Literally, I saw all them in the movies as a kid. So yeah.
Like a lot of people, I played those games growing up, and I liked them a lot. But I think one of the things I really liked about them was the fact that they didn't have dialogue, and the comedy was very visual.
I like that as well.
So I'm not personally a fan of the direction that they've taken with their more recent games and this, where they've got all the characters' voice and everything. But I mean, I don't know. Right. Maybe it'll be good.
I think it would have been like kind of out of place though in 2020 to have a big licensed Star Wars game without any dialogue or voice.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's Lego. I think they could get away with it.
Maybe.
Yeah, but this is like the Lego Star Wars game that they've been hyping up for a while now.
Well, really, it's the Lego game because I mean, according to my brother, at least they haven't released like a proper Lego game in like a good year and a half.
Yeah.
2 years by the time this releases. So yeah.
I'm not like super ecstatic, but I'm a little excited for it just because it's Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Otherwise, I'm usually not a big fan of Lego games. I think they're very grindy. to get the platinum takes like 50 hours of just doing the same missions like a couple times. I get real burned out with them pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't play the Lego games for the side content or unlocking characters. I just play it for the story, really. And even like I think what the last actual Lego game I actually bought and played through completely was Lego Marvel. It's like the Lego Marvel superheroes, Lego Marvel Avengers, and I think like once I finish the story, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I can't be bothered.
Yeah, I have the plat in Lego Marvel, and then I have it in Lego Avengers. I think that's it. Yeah. I haven't really played the other ones that much. I get burned out pretty quick. So I hope this game isn't like as grindy. So it will be though.
I think the I think the thing that really interests me about this game is that they're doing like with the cameras and all that, they're doing like it much closer to the character. Like it's not the sort of zoomed out semi-isometric point of view. Like it's actually third person, which is gonna be weird. Like with a Lego game.
Yeah. Because
you're just so used to that typical camera view, but I'm interested to see how it turns out with the combat and gameplay and everything. Because from the sounds of it, they're doing a complete overhaul.
Right. I remember playing the Lego games when I was a kid on the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
I had a real blast with the Star Wars games, and James, I remember a lot of them had no dialogue. So seeing recent Lego games like the Lego like the Lego
DC Super Villains.
Yeah, DC Super. Thank you.
Even the new Lego Star Wars games for the new films, they've got dialogue.
Yes, so. They've got It's super weird, to me anyway, since I grew up with them with no dialogue. But I mean, hey, whatever. Right. They got money.
I think one of the worst. Yeah, I think one of the worst examples of them having voice actors is when they just directly take the lines and dialogue from the movies and put it into the game. Like it was especially bad with like Jurassic Park and Avengers, and it's like you can tell. Like,
they hit the dialogue straight from the movies. Like they didn't even try.
You could tell. Yeah, you could just tell they didn't even try isolate the audio or anything. They just sort of took the line or took the audio back from the film, dropped it into the game, and often they'd have to sort of craft their visual gags around the lines.
Right.
And they would it was very bad. Yeah.
Now,
it was not good.
Yeah. If there's two things if you play the Lego games growing up, there's two things you did in the Star Wars games. First of all, you started a fist fight in the cantina. You guys do that?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
And number two is always killing Yoda because the scream he makes is hilarious. You guys ever do that?
Right. Yeah.
I don't remember that. Okay.
I mean, I just killed everyone. I didn't.
No, Yoda.
I didn't go for Yoda.
Yoda's scream when he dies.
It genocides the Jedi.
Is the funniest sound.
That was good. I assume they'll bring the cantina back as the hub.
So. Yeah,
they better.
That was amazing. Yeah.
I mean,
I thought the lack of dialogue. Just to touch on that one more time, I thought that gave it a lot of charm. Those games, I think there was a very specific style of humor that other games didn't have, and I don't know. I feel like they maybe lose a bit of that if they make it more vocal based, more jokes and less visual.
I think at the same time, though, I think either the developer or the publisher is sort of afraid of them being sort of categorized in that sort of same kiddie genre that Fortnite is now in, where it's without any dialogue, and it's just a bunch of people grunting and stuff. It's oh, this is a game for kids,
Yeah.
A lot of people grunting sounds more like Final Fantasy than Fortnite to me. But
yeah, but it's in that same sort of. I think they're afraid of sort of being lumped in with that game where it's oh, it's a game for. It's a silly Star Wars game for kids and not much else.
Yeah, I mean,
it's debatable whether it's actually valid or not, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars is generally for kids, usually families.
Yeah,
it can get darker, but generally it's for families.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's move on to Fall Guys Season 2. I'm sure James is really excited about this. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks great. It looks. I was surprised. I was expecting them to show off a couple of skins and stuff, and here's some new content. Yeah. But they're doing a complete sort of stylistic overhaul.
Yeah.
They're making the whole thing medieval.
Yeah, which is cool. It's cool to have themes like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes me more excited for the future, because it seems like they're probably going to do that every season, which will happen every few months. Sorry, Mitch?
So I was going to say, it seems like they're going in sort of the Fortnite direction where they just have seasonal themes and stuff. So I think this
Yeah.
Whereas I think the problem with Fortnite is that like they sort of burnt out all of their theme ideas by about like partway through, so then they just started doing random like, oh, here's different time periods. Oh, here's Marvel.
Yeah, so Fall Guys Season 3 is gonna have Galactus in it too. Yeah.
Yeah, very excited about that.
Before the films, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, no, it does. It looks. I'm excited because it seems like they're going to be adding a whole bunch of new levels as well.
Yeah.
So it looks a lot of fun. I'm not sure there's much to say on it, but
yeah, like I'm sure they're gonna get a shitload of money from like a big company that's gonna tell them to do like a Star Wars like kind of thing. Like
God, I hope not. I honestly, I hope
I guarantee
not.
that's gonna happen. I mean, they're an indie company; they're gonna accept it. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's gonna happen.
Now, Disney loves looking at like games like Fall Guys and Fortnite and going, "Hey, we can sort of monetize this, you know, give us
hey, how can we ruin this?"
Yeah, I mean, it already has like microtransactions you can buy, right? Like, you can buy like costumes. And
it's actually very consumer friendly because you can. There's in a nutshell, like there's two currencies. One of them you get for winning, and that's for buying the rarer stuff, and one of them you get a lot of just for playing, but you can also buy it. And you get other stuff for that, but I've never felt like I had to buy it because you do get it at quite a good rate.
Yeah, because I just hope that
I completely forgot that you could buy kudos in the game. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, because that would be my concern if like a big company got involved in it, because like they were selling like a Chewbacca like costume, and it cost like way too many points. Like you feel like you would have to spend $10. I hope they don't go down that route. But
I feel like
if it wasn't if it wasn't for Devolver Digital publishing this game, I think it would have much more predatory monetization.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
I don't know. Like I feel like the Mediatonic seems like they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
But like
honestly, the PR really doesn't seem. And I could just be buying into the PR, but honestly, their PR seems pretty spot on. I don't think they would.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like they're successful enough at this point where they would sure go for something like that, like a deal, a crossover deal or whatever, but they wouldn't let it influence the direction of the game.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
All right. You guys have anything more to add about Fall Guys?
Nope. It was a little strange how they. Sorry, Mitch. It was a little strange how they sort of announced it this far out because they've still got like 30 to 40 days or something, more than a month left on the current season.
Yeah,
so.
I guess because
there's
no other game event
at
the time, so
yeah.
No, I like the stuff they showed was like I'd say fairly like sort of early alpha. Like you could tell like it wasn't fully rendered yet, and those were just concept renders.
Sure.
So it's still a fair way out from being finished with development, but it definitely seems like they've got their stuff in order in terms of like it seems like they have a plan for the future, which I'm really glad for.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. So next game, Little Nightmares 2, which I'm personally really excited about. Have you guys played Little Nightmares 1? Any of you?
I have not.
Oh, it's a great.
Nope, not me.
Dory?
I have not.
Yeah, it's a really creepy game. It's a platformer. You're like a little person in a big room, but these they're really creepy looking, and they hunt you down. You have to like climb on wardrobe and stuff. Go ahead.
Is it by the same guys who did Inside and Limbo and all that?
No,
it's not.
It seems very similar.
But it's very similar. Yes.
I was gonna make that comparison. Yeah.
Everybody made when it came out, everybody made the same comparison. A lot of people thought that, but yeah, there is I don't recall there being a ton of puzzles like those games. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played them. Most of that game is really stealth. Like you have to hide under the stove or something. Because it doesn't capture you or something. You got to climb the shelves.
I was really impressed by the art style as someone who doesn't really know a ton about Little Nightmares 2. Like the art style looked really impressive, and it honestly did kind of creep me out. The animation on the hand is really what stuck out to me. Like that hand was animated too well. Somebody's doing their job a little too well at that studio.
Because one of them has like really long arms, and he reaches at you and stuff. And but the creepiest one to me was the chef. Like he looks like a creepy Muppet, and he just like wants to eat you, and it's like.
Yeah. And
then you got this is a little bit of a spoiler, but there's gluttons on a ship, and they're all like just big fat people just eating like tons of food, and then you have to like run from them because they're trying. Like, I mean, oh, it's so creepy. If you're not really a horror person, probably not for you. But
it's like it must be difficult for them to make it scary in like a 2D camera perspective.
Well, it's not. It's a 3D environment. You can move up and down. Like.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. It's
I
not.
think there's definitely like, there's like tons of ways you can sort of evoke a creepy atmosphere and fear into the audience, like just with the visuals and stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
sure.
like, I mean, Inside handled that really well with just sort of like the stuff they had in there, like both in the foreground and in the background. So yeah, it's definitely.
Can we call this an Inside like? Is that
Yeah.
is that gonna be a new
but
genre?
Limbo like.
Those games are more like
yeah.
those games are like really 2D. Like this game is more like it's a 3D environment. You can go up and down.
Right. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
this game's always on sale,
I don't know,
so.
and that's such a niche game, right? I mean, I've played Inside, though I haven't played the follow up, but so I don't know. I
Niche.
don't think we could really do that. Niche.
Yeah.
No, I mean I think they're pretty beloved, right? Like Inside and Limbo.
Well, they're pretty beloved. I just mean like there's not a lot of games copying Inside, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That's more so. I don't mean to say that it's not popular or something.
Yeah. I would. See, comparisons are not. I mean, I can see it why, but it's like I said, it's 3D environment, and I don't remember there being that many puzzles compared to Limbo. Like Limbo was like half the game was puzzles, like trial and error kind of thing. Little Nightmares is always on sale for like $8, honestly. So if you're really interested in it, I really recommend it. One of the really, I don't know if it's underrated because I think a lot of people were digging it, but if it is,
it's
definitely go ahead.
It's one of those titles / genres that are like sort of like have a cult following, but like there's a really big cult following in that sense.
Yeah. So and there's DLC too to it. They added a new character. I never got to play that part. I don't know if that ties. I don't know if the sequel ties into the DLC story too. But yeah, and the storyline was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can't get into details about ruining it. So I'll just move on to the next one. So the next one is Spellbreak. Spellbreak's a free-to-play game. It's coming out September 3rd. It kind of it looks like an Avatar game. Like you do all these elements.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like Smite, just like obviously with much more free mobility and movement, but it has the same sort of like casting, and animation and art style as Smite. Mm-hmm. I just think it looks better than Smite, but that's a completely different.
Yeah, it's something I'll try out. Maybe just a couple hours. I don't know if it clicks with me or whatever. I don't know if I'll stick with it. We'll see. You know what I mean? Because we never.
Somebody pointed out in the IGN comments that it was weird how they had this very ethereal, nice sounding music, and then when the action started, bam, Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, it was really accurate because like it just went like full throttle. I was like, wow. I was like, this isn't for me. But I like the animation. The animation was pretty and nice to look at. I did kind of think the trailer ran a little long. I was like, okay, I get what it's about. Yeah. Like I was just kind of looking to X off the screen and go somewhere else. So
that was one of my criticisms with the show was like when they showed like World of Warcraft that they showed it was like 15. I think I swear to God that was like 15 minutes long. Don't get me wrong.
I can see why that might have dragged on if you went into it. But honestly, like I thought that animation for World of Warcraft was really quite good.
I thought it was great. I love the lore. I'm a huge WoW fan, but but it did. I can see a casual person being watched this like, oh my God, with this move on already. I think a lot of the trailers started to drag a bit. Yeah, the other trailer. Yeah, I think this one example was this one went on for a pretty long time. Like I think they're better off just showing gameplay instead of just like trailer. You know what I mean?
Sure. Did they not do that at BlizzCon?
Well, for WoW, no WoW. They just
did they have BlizzCon this year?
Oh WoW.
No, last year.
Last year, yeah.
Okay.
But they've been showing gameplay for months now. People have been in the beta and everything. People have been playing Shadowlands. I mean Spellbreak. Like I think Spellbreak's the kind of game where you just show gameplay only. You don't even show a trailer.
Oh, right.
Just let the gameplay do the talking because that's the main focus of the game.
I mean, they did. There was some gameplay in that trailer.
I meant like don't show like CGI or cutscene. Just show like straight on. Here's what the game's gonna play like. It's that kind of game. It's a free to play, gameplay focused game. Instead of like a long trailer that just kind of dragged a bit.
Well, it looked interesting, sure enough.
Yeah, I want to check it out when it comes out.
Yeah.
All right, so final game of the night. It is Ratchet and Clank. Now, before we get into Ratchet and Clank, they announced today that it's going to be in 60 frames per second. You have the option.
They did too, yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. I think it's going to be the standard for every first-party PlayStation game. I think.
Am I alone? am I alone in having assumed that it would have been 60 before they said anything?
It looked 60 in the initial
Yeah, it
reveal.
looked 60.
I thought so.
Well, it's hard to tell on the
looked-
stream.
yeah.
But
Yeah, true. But it's like it looks definitely like very smooth and sort of like might have just been the animations and all that. But yeah, it looked very smooth for the reveal and this.
Yeah, it's probably the most next gen game I've seen between Xbox and PlayStation to this point. Because they're showing so much on screen.
Yeah.
You're showing so much. Like
I think that's why they pushed this game over like Miles Morales, because it's like with the loading times and the mechanics and all that, it's definitely like much more. It's more representative of the new
SSD.
what's it called? SSD. Yeah, it's much more representative of that technology. Whereas I think Miles Morales is more ray tracing and all that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I agree with that completely. So what you guys? Now that the gameplay was just it was just an extended version of what we saw already. But what do you guys think about the gameplay?
It looks fun, honestly. It looks like more. The visuals are gorgeous, but it looks like more Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
And I haven't played a whole lot of that series, but I thoroughly enjoyed the 2016 or 2015, whatever year it came out version. Yeah. And I thought, so like, and more of that, I'll take it. And especially the way they seem to be talking about how it's going to work with the dual sense controller, with the adaptive triggers and that sort of thing. It's all very exciting.
Yeah, there's 3D audio too, and it sounds like you like they made it seem like when you go through the portal, you really feel it and really sounds like it. I'm really curious how they managed to do that.
And another thing that they said was, I think the big example they're pushing is that with the double-barreled shotgun, you fire the first shot and you feel some resistance on the trigger, and then you go past the resistance point, and then you fire the second shot, and that seems really cool. I love that.
They're doing that with that other game too, right? You can't put the gun. You can't
Deathloop, where it jams, right?
Yeah, it jams on you.
Yeah.
That's imagine like with the jamming thing. Imagine Red Dead 2 and like how you can sort of like pull the triggers in different sense, like to cause like the
and like how they have you like pull the trigger again to pull back the hammer.
Yeah,
they could do some really interesting stuff with that.
That would be amazing with the
definitely.
Triggers, but
I've seen a little concern with like the Deathloop thing specifically, where people are concerned that like it could easily break the controller or something. Like it seems like a recipe for disaster in that way. But honestly, like they'll have tested it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like
even then, it's more of it's more of an individual problem rather than a hardware problem. I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'm very delicate with my controllers. I'm not one to like slam my controller. So.
Yeah,
but other people
I've never gotten mad at a game before and busted a controller. Not me.
Nope. It's expensive. I think it's like $70. You think I'm gonna destroy that?
And that's why I don't play Dark Souls, y'all. That's why I don't play Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Or Samurai Jack.
Get a nice little cozy bed for your controller.
Right.
Like,
or Samurai Jack. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say like you get like a little cozy bed for your controller with a little blanket and a pillow and everying. Treat your controls well. Yeah.
I just want to say, so from the trailer, I mean, this definitely hyped me up the most. I really like the graphics. Yuri Lowenthal is a great voice actor, and so I'm excited to see him in that role. I think he was recently recast in the last few years or so. I think so. I heard there was a different voice actor before Yuri.
He's in the game.
Ratchet.
Yeah, I mean he was Ratchet before, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been Ratchet before, but only recently. Could be wrong.
They changed the voice actor?
I thought it was James Arnold Taylor the whole time.
Yeah.
I know he's been
somebody. Not the whole time.
I know he's voiced somebody for Insomniac before.
Somebody. Who could it be?
I will now Google.
I know James Arnold Taylor was the voice.
But anyway, I just want to say, the gameplay looks like more Ratchet, but I'm okay with that. I've only played a couple of Ratchet and Clank games, and I always love that gameplay style. As long as it's smooth, as long as it's solid. The main thing for me is like as long as the story's different enough, and the writing is really funny. I don't mind if the gameplay is kind of samey as long as the story is different enough and it's well written enough. And this looks really good, so I'm interested for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
I will say that the Oh, sorry, you guys said.
I was gonna say, story's not gonna be like Last of Us Part 2, but it's it's kind of.
Well, I don't mean best story like that. I don't mean cinematic or winning Oscars. I just mean like funny and interesting and like fun.
Yeah,
it'd be funny if it did though. Like it had like a whole depth to it. That'd be hilarious.
I mean, if you get to play Nefarious. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say this. That's spoilers. But anyway,
I think if you haven't been spoiled for part 2, like with the main sort of gameplay twist, I guess you could say, if you haven't been spoiled on that, you haven't been on the internet.
Probably,
okay, so I think your Lowenthal was one of the characters in Sunset Overdrive.
Oh,
yeah, he was the main character in that. Yeah.
So I don't know anything about Ratchet and Clank beyond that, but yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean,
I know
the
he was Spider-Man too, so he was Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
He was the best Spider-Man, I think.
He's in a million.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's one of them.
But I mean, I think the most disappointing thing for me about Ratchet and Clank is the fact that Marcus Smith is the creative director on it, and that means that he's not working on Resistance 4, which is a huge letdown for me personally.
I'm so let down.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're all about Resistance, though. I'm all about getting a new Killzone game.
I think
will that happen? Will that happen?
Like in the style of the first trilogy, I'm not too big on Shadowfall.
I think I'm neither.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think Sony has a first-person shooter problem where they don't have many of them at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like
they we don't need that anymore.
Yeah, I feel like they have this sort of this idea that it's like you can't tell or you can't have like emotive main characters in a first-person game because you can't actually see their face.
Well, I mean,
even though there's been plenty of first-person games that have had great main characters.
Yeah.
Anyway,
if that's their one weakness right now is that they don't really have a first-party multiplayer franchise that's really clicking right now. It's not a big problem.
I don't even need multiplayer personally. I just need first person. I just need Resistance back is what I need.
Yeah,
give us Resistance 4, damn it.
Because they got SOCOM,
are you just gonna like
Filter, and you know what I mean. They got all these franchises. They can bring back.
No, exactly. They've got so much stuff.
Yeah.
So many IP.
I love the fact that they're very single player focused, but at the same time, it's like there are days where I'm like, I really wish I could have a first party multiplayer title.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, like I wish I could go back and play the multiplayers for the Resistance games, but they've all been shut down, all the servers and everything. So
friggin' Sony.
No, I prefer Resistance 4, but yeah.
I mean, they would be empty anyway if they were still up, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a while though. I think they're focused on Ratchet and Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that I kind of like, but at the same time don't like about Sony first party stuff is like they're willing to move on from IP that are successful and not drag them into the ground by overusing them. But also, I want a new Resistance game.
Yeah, not get
so.
If I had to guess, we'll probably get 3 Ratchet games and 3 Spider-Man games, and then they'll move on to something else. But
I'm really excited.
After these 2, we'll get one more, I think. And then
I'm kind of where James is with Resistance, except with Spider-Man, and I know Insomniac has multiple teams and stuff, and one's working on Ratchet, just combine them and just work on Spider-Man, please.
Yeah.
I'm not super invested in Ratchet, so I'm just. I guess now that James is saying this, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, God, I just wish both teams were working on Spider-Man and we get it sooner because I need that in my hands now.
So I've actually changed my mind, and I'm really happy about Ratchet now, and I want them to put all their resources into Ratchet.
So James, you're breaking up, and I think we're gonna have to put you on the call.
That should be
no, but I mean, like, it's I don't know. I do like Ratchet. I'm excited for the game, but I mean, they say, I think they said after Resistance 3 that they were done with the franchise, but ever since then they've sort of walked that back and they've said, maybe we do something with it in the future. Who knows?
Yeah.
So I feel like that maybe says that they're more open to it now, and it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But
they could pull a Ubisoft and just put like one of the main Resistance characters or something in a mobile game. Like with Tom Clancy Elite Squad or something. I don't know
God.
what it is.
Yeah. So like the next special topic we do is probably going to be like franchises we want to come back for sure. Like
That's a good idea. That's a good
I
idea.
have time.
But I've already blown my number one.
Yeah.
So-
oh well.
Blowing up your spot, James.
I'm sure you don't care. I'm sure you don't care about talking about Resistance again. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if before we sort of wrap this up, if I have one final thing to say about the Ratchet and Clank gameplay, I think the gunplay looks way better than it did in the previous game because the guns actually seem to have some proper impact now, which I'm like, okay, like that was so much more fun than just like, I mean, obviously the gameplay in previous entries was fun, but it's like it actually looks really satisfying and fun now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nuts as well. Like that, it's coming out. They're saying it's coming out in the PS5 launch window, which is insane. Because I would have said that game was further off, especially since Miles Morales is supposed to be coming out in the holiday this year. The thing is, I'm a little confused what they mean by launch window, because does that mean like the month or two that the PS5 launches, or does that mean like the year that it launches? Like
it means
the year.
It means like within 6 months. So probably the spring. I would say March or April.
It seems like it'll be Sony's February, March, April sort of game.
You gotta imagine Insomniac doesn't want to sell 2 games at the same time. You get more money if you put it at a different time, you know.
Yeah, there's definitely been publishers who compete with themselves, and that's always like a worst nightmare.
Yeah,
kind of
because
thing.
you know people if people have to choose between Ratchet and Spider-Man, obviously they're gonna pick Spider-Man. So.
Yeah, I mean there have been publishers who compete with themselves, but have there ever been developers that compete with themselves?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure fights would start breaking out in the Insomniac office.
Yeah, good example.
They're starting ring matches.
You know what? I changed my mind. I kind of want to see this now. Spider-Man team versus Ratchet and Clank team. Whoever wins remains victorious. Must make the whatever the.
They're gonna set up a boxing ring, and they're just gonna have James Stevenson and Brian Intihar just going at it. You know.
Ted Price can MC the match.
Yes.
I want to see this. Yeah. I want to see this.
Celebrity deathmatch, but for game devs.
Yeah.
There'll be so much of this. None of them will know how to fight. They'll know how to program fights, but they won't know how to actually fight.
Yeah. Let's make it happen.
So where you put your game really matters, because you guys remember what happened to Titanfall 2, where they put it between Battlefield and Call of Duty. And
I was going to mention that.
That was so good. Yeah. Go ahead.
Not good. Yep. No, I'm done. I think I interrupted you, if anything.
No worries. All right, that pretty much wraps up the conversation. You guys have anything more to add about Ratchet?
It looked like the best trailer. It got me excited for the game. I hope it's great. I'll probably play it on PS5.
Yeah, it was worth sitting through 2 hours of that for the Ratchet game.
Definitely. I'm glad I just caught the highlights, Seb, because you are an absolute trooper.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, guys. I don't know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
I didn't catch it firsthand. I can't really say it was bad. It just sounded bad to me, but I just caught what I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Because you put too much together in one show, you know what I mean? From all platforms, you kind of drag. You know what I mean?
I thought they did a good job of keeping it concise and let's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Keeping a rhythm, I'm
always consistent. I don't like interviews during shows. You know what I mean? I feel like that drags the show, and then some of the trailers.
Yeah, I don't think, but they didn't do too many really long ones. They did. No. I think the Doc Brown bit was a bit. For Surgeon Simulator 2, that was okay. We get the picture. It's celebrity cameo.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It kind of reminds me of in previous years with the Game Awards and how they had these really, really bad sort of gags and skits in between showings or whatever. And I think last year's was pretty good. I think
hang on,
Mitch, they had the Muppets or whatever. Yeah.
Are you telling me you didn't like Hydrobot? The Game Awards 2015, Hydrobot. Shik's Hydrobot?
Would you look at the time? I gotta go, but...
He saved the show, man. He was the highlight.
The issue wasn't so much the pacing, it was just most of the games didn't really appeal to me. That was really the main...
Okay. Fair enough.
Alright, so that pretty much concludes our show. Thanks for watching, and peace, guys. And we're good. What's up, PlayStation fans? Thank you for watching PS Premiere's podcast. We record every Friday night and upload every podcast at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. If you like what you heard, we appreciate any support by clicking the like button and subscribing.